So, I mean, do you want to do a quick overview of what this is?
Well, sure. There's actually other rumors out there, and I'm not sure if we're going to cover them as well, that maybe the tanking Ubisoft was done on purpose between the Guillemot family, which is primarily the owner of Ubisoft, despite the fact that they're public, and Tencent working in conjunction to try to make it less and less expensive. Um, Ubisoft has been tanking for the last 5 years. You are often fond of showing the
I
path.
love it, mate. I love the stock.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
funny.
And yet, the minute that there's a rumor that the Chinese could be interested in this, and which happened on Friday, the stock jumped 33% from where it was to 13.10 euro. If you look at it over the last 5 days, extraordinary. If you look at it over the last 5 years, not so much. Not so much. So, but yeah, 33% jump in one day. I guess it managed to keep 25 of that. But regardless, Ubisoft has been making terrible games. When they release Assassin's Creed Shadows, it will be 5 straight games that they've basically released duds that will not make their money back ever. Which includes that latest Star Wars game. It also proved that Star Wars has no more cachet with the general public, but that's a complete side point. So Tencent has been interested in acquiring more IP because really, to them, Ubisoft is nothing more than an IP farm. That's it. They don't have any value because the company itself is compromised. You literally have to dissolve the locations where they have all these activists entrenched in order to make it worth as much as it should be. And it's really just the IPs that are valuable. They could immediately make good use of those IPs if Tencent were to acquire the catalog that Ubisoft has. Because as you pointed out, it's not just Assassin's Creed. They have Watch Dogs, they have Far Cry, they have Rainbow Six. I mean, all the Tom Clancy games are theirs, and many others. So that it's not like they wouldn't have an immediate stable of content that they could just start developing. So when this story broke on Friday, and we covered it on that game place, but when this story broke, it really kind of created some hope on the game side of things, but some sadness, because the last thing you want is China's government to get a hold of more culturally relevant IPs. And it was so funny because I was watching. There was a YouTube creator that was following the story along with us, the collapse of Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I think his last name is Hido. Do you remember him, Mr. H? Anyway, he applied for a game to be a game tester, but they were looking for an ethnic Japanese person to work in China to do that job. So very strange. Yeah. So, if you want to look for conspiracies, you can certainly find them there. That, they are working hard on some of this stuff in China for some reason. I mean, wouldn't you just hire them in Japan where you have an actual studio, Ubisoft Japan? And I don't know. Very strange. But it's very strange. And I mean, you can follow the article, but I just thought I'd break it down real quick that this kind of has been a long time coming. Skull and Bones was an absolute disaster to the tune of $650 to $850 million in budget.
I can't believe
I know. That game was in development for a decade, dude. So I mean, you have what did I say today? There are 18 or 19 total Assassin's Creed games, or will be, between phone games and actual PC console games. So, I mean, it's not like they don't have a huge catalog to pull from, and they are about to give you the gayest Ubisoft game ever made in Assassin's Creed Hex. So get ready for that one. That'll be another piece of garbage. But this is the story right here. You found it. Let's do it.
Well, yeah, it's just a rumor, isn't it, that Ubisoft intentionally pushed Yasuke in Assassin's Creed Shadows to tank company stock so Tencent could take over. I'm not sure whether I believe this, and the reason why is that, the implication is that this is the only game that they've done it with. I mean, nah, it'd be Star Wars Outlaws as well, right? Like that game's not exactly doing great. Do you know what I mean? I just think this is where they're going as a business generally. So anyway, a new rumor alleges that Ubisoft intentionally promoted Yasuke in Assassin's Creed Shadows so that the company's stock price would tank and allow Tencent to more easily take over the company. So YouTuber Andy Mayon shared that an alleged insider shared with him that Ubisoft, quote, was using the implementation of this character into their game to steer the public reception of not only Shadows, but Ubisoft as a company in general towards a scenario that would actually lead to a buyout. He said, quote, as I was told, Tencent allegedly was a big pusher of Yasuke becoming the main character of Shadows. Ubisoft, of course, was considering the idea, but Tencent was really the ones that pushed that vision into reality. Allegedly, Yasuke was pushed because Tencent knew the inclusion of this character as a leading man in a Japanese Assassin's game would raise many eyebrows and cause public outcry. Which, I mean, they're right, it did exactly that. And the discussion surrounding the game has not died down since for good reason. As I'm told, decisions like implementing Yasuke, which would lead to many boycotting the game, was something pushed by Tencent investors to purposely tank Ubisoft in order to weaken the company towards an acquisition, effectively leading to Ubisoft now becoming far weaker, worth far less than it should be, and placing itself plump and ready for Tencent to waltz in and swallow the entire company whole and obtain them. I don't, look, they've not exactly been doing solid for a while, though. Do you know what I mean? So this is why, even in 2023, they were still only at €20. When was Assassin's Creed Shadows fully announced?
I mean, it got announced in 2023, if I remember correctly, and then it just got pushed back from 2024 to 2025. And again, I mean, every time they deliver bad news, whether it be to investors or to gamers, their stock drops. There's a reason why this thing is sliding. There's a reason why it's been sliding for a while. It's very poor leadership. I mean, management there has been going the wrong direction. They keep bringing in money or bringing in debt, I should say, and have been for a while to try to, keep development in process. One of the reasons why the Guillemots are even more compromised is that they started to sell off their own bits of their own personal holding company, which Tencent bought into. So there's a lot of issues going on here. We're going to talk about them in depth, probably a little bit more, and with more stories that'll be breaking here today, in the live stream we do tomorrow for that gameplays. But I keep looking at this and going, of course this is happening. Of course. So if somebody comes out and has solid proof, which I don't think Endymion really needs much of, because he's been breaking stories about this stuff for a while now, almost daily. So, whoever he's talking to is giving him pretty good information. And a lot of these developers are pissed. They've been pissed for a while. So, I mean, it's the same thing with Disney employees. A lot of Disney employees are pissed, and so they're starting to leak to, YouTubers and Instabook programmers and stuff like that. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, could this be true? Yeah, it could be true.
I'm not easily convinced to try to, maintain a little bit of journalistic integrity, because I do occasionally write for, location places like That Park Place and so on. I've written for Bounding. I've written for a few, and I'm going to say that, I want there to be actual factual reporting. The problem is that I arrive at the same conclusion every day, which is, well, with everything that's been happening, would this be far-fetched? And the question is, would Nick be still talking to whoever he was there? I don't know. I don't know. Did he want to be brought in?
Well, he's here.
Sorry, guys, that was Coach.
Did you say hi to Coach?
Yeah. I told him I was on here. I was like, right when you pulled me in and then popped me out, I was like, hey, dude, they're pulling me and I gotta go.
Right, come on. What you got to add to this then, Nick?
Yeah. They started early development on this Assassin's Creed game in 2018, and they announced it September of 2022.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about this is, well, I was at Icon this past weekend, which was great time. Wish you could have made it, Culture.
I know.
But I talked to a Rockstar Games game developer that was there that's working on GTA 6.
Okay.
And he was super drunk and told me some stuff.
Is it the stuff that I said was going to be a problem?
So I asked him about that, and he was like, he said, we don't really listen to what people are saying. This game's gonna be crazy good. He was talking about you're gonna be able to like make it rain on strippers and all kinds of stuff like that. But I was asking about Ubisoft and all this sort of stuff, and he was talking about what a crap game developer they are.
Oh yeah.
And how they are just completely screwing up everything over there. I talked a little bit about EA and what a terrible company they are to work for. So yeah, it was an interesting conversation.
He was burning bridges, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I can't even remember everything he said. He was talking so much.
Bloody hell.
But yeah, it was definitely an interesting conversation.
Good. Well, I'm gonna have to pump your brain to figure out what all it was.
Yeah. Gary Ambrosia was there.
I can talk to Gary too. Yeah.
Bring him in. While we were sitting there talking to him, he was standing outside there with me when I was talking to him. Yeah, he's in. He works out of their San Diego offices.
Oh wow!
We'll soon know if he's full of shit because GTA 6 will be dropping at some point, won't it? So we'll soon figure that out. But interesting stuff. I mean, look, what is your thoughts, Nick, on Ubisoft being sold to China? What do you reckon?
Mean, it's not going to get any better. But the only thing I will say is the Chinese don't really buy into this woke culture stuff. So
no, but they do. No, they do for other people. They do for other countries. They don't serve woke. Like look at TikTok, for instance. TikTok in China is different to TikTok.
That is a good point.
Do for other countries. They do.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you are right. They do push that. The TikTok thing's a great example too, because people that are in China, none of the like booty shaking and all the just garbage content. Yeah, none of that is on any of the Chinese TikTok. It's all educational stuff and stuff to like, make people more knowledgeable and more proud to be Chinese or whatever. It's all like that sort
propaganda.
Of stuff. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Literally a completely different app, basically.
Yeah, which we'll be finding out here at some point in time if TikTok's going to get banned here in the U.S.
I thought it was. I thought they.
Well,
they're going to do that.
I think they're still fighting it. I don't think it's because it's still. I mean, you can still get it here and still get on it. So it's not. It hasn't been implemented yet. They're still fighting it and stuff. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't do TikTok. I'm on enough social media platforms. I've never done TikTok. I'll never do TikTok.
Right. Well. We've got super chat about this. This a great topic. So from friend of the channel, WDW Pro drops in for $7.99. It says Ubisoft is what would happen to Disney if not for sports and theme parks. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, you're completely right there. Like completely right. We also have a huge super chat from Oni Mishima, regular viewers of the podcast will recognize this name because this individual drops big dollars. It should probably by now be leading the leaderboard over on Streamlabs. But Oni Mishima drops in $100 over on Streamlabs.
Nice.
And says, I know. And so thank you so much. And says the Chinese can have these Ubisoft clowns. Also, congrats on the greenhouse culture.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
you got a
very much.
greenhouse?
Well, I've got a couple. I was talking about a third one I was going to be building this fall.
Oh,
So,
wow. You doing like hydroponic in there or something?
Well, I converted one from a hydroponic to a soil. But I started out originally with hydroponics. That right now I'm this next one will have some hydroponics or actually aquaponics. But yeah.
Nice.
Just real quick, Olaf does confirm that Oni Mishima is #1 all-time supporter on Streamlabs. Yes.
I would imagine so after that last one.
Well, yeah, no, because there is a leaderboard on Streamlabs.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Oni Mishima. Do appreciate it, man. Thank you. So anyway, that's all that Ubisoft slop out the way. We are going to shuffle on now. Oh no.